Alright guys, so today I'm going to go through how to do an oil change on a 2016 Toyota 4Runner Trail. I'll go through all the things that you'll need and then we'll go through the process. Alright guys, so we'll go through what we need. You're going to need a ratchet with a 12mm attachment. You're going to need a new gasket for your oil drain plug. I buy the Toyota one. They're not very expensive, it's like $1 a piece. It's cheaper if you buy it like I did with 10. A 6mm or 6-inch extension for my 3/8 drive 18-inch breaker bar. I also have an attachment to convert it to a 3/8 since the oil filter tool that I bought is a 3/8 and not a 1/2 inch. So this will attach to there, that'll attach to the breaker bar, and we'll take the oil filter off like that. And then you're gonna need obviously an oil filter. Unlike some of the cars you may have done, if you're like me, I have a Honda as well. On that you'll notice that the filter and the housing comes out. On this one it's just a paper filter. The housing is actually already on the truck. So you'll unscrew a piece, you'll drain the oil from the filter, and then you'll take the actual filter housing off. You'll replace the inside filter, the paper filter, and then you'll put it back on. So that's a little bit different. And then you'll need an oil drain pan, and I've got a funnel as well. And then I'm using Mobil 1 full synthetic oil. So that oil there, 0W20. And you're gonna need 6 quarts of it. So I've got 2 cases of this, each one's 5. So I'll just use a quart from the other. And then I've also got a working light underneath the car. I've got jack stands. I've got wheel chock behind the wheels so that, I mean, you know how the Toyota handbrake is not that great. I gotta tighten it up. But also for the actual oil drain plug, I didn't tell you what size it is because I've never done the oil change. When I get to that point, I'll tell you what size it is. And so we'll get started. Okay, so earlier I told you that I didn't know what sockets we're going to use throughout for the drain plug and for a number of other screws underneath the car. You're going to need for the drain plug a 14mm. For the screws that are, or the bolts that are on the skid plate, you're going to need a 12mm. And for the bolts that hold the undercarriage to the skid plate, that's going to be all 10mm. So you're going to need 10mm, 12mm, and 14mm sockets to complete the project throughout. Okay, so make sure in addition to the things I told you need, get those as well. So I've already raised it. I've shown in a previous video, and I'll link it on here, how you lift and where you lift from. So I'm just going to drop the car back onto my jack stands. Now, in terms of where we're going to be beginning our work, just to orient you a little bit, this is the truck, this is the driver's side, and if I were to come down here, that's the driver's side door, under here, and you see this, the undercarriage right around there, right? I mean the skid plate, that's where we're going to start working. So just to orient you, in the next clip, you're going to start right around here. Alright. So, again, just gonna go ahead and take this off. It's just interrupted by a call. Take the second one off as well. So this comes right off, and I'll show you where the oil drain pan is. Okay, so now that that's off, this is your oil drain pan. Okay, this right here. And let's bring some light over. Okay, that there is your drain pan. You're literally gonna take this drain plug off. Okay, and we're gonna replace the thing under there, the gasket under there, which I was showing you earlier. All right, and then we're just gonna let that oil drain into the pan. So let's do it. Alright, so 14mm is your oil drain pan. Okay, so let's get that oil drain pan, let's get that oil pan or the drain plug off. Okay, so pan lined up. There we go. So, there's your oil drain plug. Here's your gasket. We're gonna get rid of this gasket. We'll put a new gasket on here. Okay, so give it a nice tight seal. I got myself a new gasket. You can see the blue. I just put some oil on there. That's why you see the black stuff there. Again, let's try this guy out. Okay, that's good enough. All right. Now I'm gonna dry again. Okay. Dry that whole thing up. This doesn't need a whole lot of torque, okay? Your drain plug. So I'm just gonna give it a nice one time. Again, final wipe down. Okay, so we're moving further up the car here. We just worked on this spot here where the oil pan is. We drained that already. We're moving further up. This is your skid plate here. This right here is where you lift your car from. And so there are a couple screws. There's one right here in this hole here. Okay, 12 millimeter again, and another one in that hole there. So one here, one here. We're gonna take that off. It's already getting loose. Oh. There's a hole right here, right? And inside there was a 12 millimeter bolt. Inside here there was a 12 millimeter bolt, right? This is again all on your skid plate, right? And then there's one right here, and there's one right here. You'll see this nut thing right here in the middle, right? So it's to the right of it and to the left of it. Okay? And again, this is why you wanna have a Alright, so after a bunch of work, I decided this plastic piece here in the front needs to come off. I can't get to my oil pan, I don't have my car high enough. It's just a little bit of a pain, so this is a 10 millimeter. These bolts here, 10 millimeters. Alright, so we're just gonna take that off real quick. I like to take everything off. When you can see what you're doing, it pays off. Alright guys, so the most complicated thing of this entire oil change is if your car is not high enough, you're going to have to take your skid plate off to be able to access the filter, drain it, and then replace it, right? So what did I have to do that? A whole bunch of stuff that after doing it I realized it wasn't as hard as I was making it. That there is your skid plate, that there is a piece of your undercarriage that connects to your front bumper that also connects to your skid plate. So there are a couple screws here, and then there's a little piece here in the middle that needs to come out, and then there are 4 screws onto your actual bumper from this undercarriage piece here. Okay, so what do you need to know? This is the front of your skid plate. This here is a hook. This is the hook that's a pain to get out. This hook and this hook here. So you'll see that this kind of curves up here. There's a little tiny opening on the body of your car that you have to get this out from. So you have to turn this down like this. Actually, first like slide it all the way back and then turn it a little, and you'll get this hook out. All right, and you'll be able to get this hook out as well. You have to get these 2 out to take it off, and then you're good. By the way, when you're lifting the car, this is the piece that's hitting the frame of your car. It's lifting with. Okay. Okay, so now we're looking under the car. This is where your skid plate used to be. That there is your filter. This is the little silver piece that you're going to take off. under which you're going to clip in a piece that came with your oil filter that allows you to drain your oil filter. This is the housing that's going to come off later that we're going to use this wrench for. Okay. So let's go ahead and drain it first. Let me bring my pen. Yep, it's a 3/8, so fortunately I have a adapter. Okay, so it just twists right out. Then you're able to get this off, and this is what I'm talking about. So you get a little bit of grip, right? This is that silver piece that I was talking about. So we've taken that off. I'm gonna put that on my newspaper here. I'm gonna grab my little this plastic thing that comes with their oil drain kit. Okay, we're gonna clip that on there. There we go. There we go. You just gotta give it a little bit of a push. All right, so now that the oil is pretty much done draining, we're gonna pop this little tool that came with, again, your filter. We're gonna pop it back out. Okay, so you see the filter right there? Let me show you. You have to line your tool up correctly into all the grooves. You see that? That's how you line it up. If you put it like this, it ain't gonna work. It needs to be completely lined up, like that. All right, that's how you get your filter off. So let's go ahead and take it off. Just twist this filter off. There's your filter housing. Alright guys, so here's your filter housing, okay? There's a gasket here that we want to replace. And I forgot to mention, I'm gonna correct this a little bit later, but when you took this off, there was a gasket under this as well that needed to be replaced, which is the smaller one that it comes with. You see it comes with 2 gaskets. We should have replaced that, so I'm gonna go back and replace that in a second, but just wanted to show you guys that. Let me go ahead and replace this one right now. It's really oily and stuff, so it's kind of actually, there it is. That needs to be replaced. So I got some oil on my glove. I'm gonna go ahead and just line this up. Got that. We'll slide that guy back on there. I'm gonna go ahead and throw my new filter in. Here's my new filter. Push that guy in. Okay, there's your new filter housing. So before I pour the oil in, I'm gonna take this off here. Again, I'm gonna put my new gasket on there, and then we'll screw everything back on, put the new oil in, and finally be done putting the filter back on. Okay, so obviously hand tight right now. I'm gonna tighten it completely. And remember I said I was gonna take this guy back off. Let me move the light out of the way. Oh, that has to go the other way. So. Okay, good. So I'm gonna take this guy off and put my new gasket back on. Make sure my projectiles are good. So, around, you see this little gold? The gold inside here? With the thread? Around that, there's supposed to be a gasket. And it probably fell into my pan, which is why I didn't even notice it. I'm gonna line this guy up with a little bit of oil. Okay. Then I'm gonna throw this guy onto here. And gonna tighten this guy. Just make sure that it lines up properly first. Alright, now time to tighten this guy up. Okay, that's probably good enough. I already gave my housing a good twist. Okay, so obviously before putting everything back together, we're gonna put oil. It's 0W20 Mobile 1, like I said before. We're gonna take this cap off and we're gonna go ahead and fill it up. So I'm gonna hang my light up there, and hopefully you can see. And we'll get this going. All right, here we go. All right, guys, to reset your computer on your truck or on the 4Runner, you can refer to page 341 of your owner's manual that tells you how to do it. but we'll just go through how to do it. So we're gonna turn our car to accessory mode, ACC. You'll see on your keys. Actually, we're gonna turn it to on first, and we're gonna make sure that it's at trip A. Once it's on trip A, we're gonna move the car to accessory mode. Then we're gonna hold down the odometer button. We're gonna hold that down, and then we're gonna turn it back to on. Okay, and it says resetting maintenance data in the middle, and you just wait for it to do it. Hold it down until it's done. Done. That's it. That's how you reset your computer. Alright guys, so that's how you do your oil change on the 2016 Toyota 4Runner Trail. It was a lot more work to get that skid plate off than I thought it was going to be. Now that I know how to do it, I think it'll be a lot faster next time. But I would recommend you lift your car a lot higher, and then you'll be able to get the skid plate off a lot faster, so that should make it easier. Alright, thanks guys.